Alright guys, so this thing literally lasted me from November to March, so a good 5 months. It was working great at first, but I had an issue with it about a week and a half ago, that my car started spontaneously just not starting. So I thought my battery just gave out all of a sudden, but so when it happened, I just driven it, parked it for like 5-7 minutes, came back, and it was totally dead. So what I found is this is the culprit. What was happening is my car was running on the alternator as I was driving, and my radio and amp started rebooting because the connection essentially was not strong enough. So there was a connection, but it wasn't, I guess, there wasn't enough current to provide full power to all the accessories in the car. It was just the alternator was running the car. So why is this faulty? It's something I noticed when I first got it, but I thought maybe it was just how this thing was designed, and purposefully, but it's really a defect in the design, as many people have pointed out in Amazon. So as you can see, this knob right now it's not engaged to be on, and you tend to see like this becomes a little like easier to move around. There's play when it's not screwed down. Right, so just imagine you have your negative connection hooked up here, and this connection is connected to your battery, to the negative battery terminal. So obviously this should be tight. There shouldn't be any play, right? So that was what was happening with mine. There was no play on this side. It was still tight. But what was happening is the cable, the negative cable, essentially was playing with this. It was making the connection intermittent. So obviously this is a defect in the design. So just imagine your cable's connected to this. It's pulled through. It's screwed down. But if you go over to bump, the cable could pop, right? It could pop out. So this thing right here is going to move, and there's some give. And you see the connection isn't flush. So you would think tightening this all the way down would help, right? So if you keep going, right? So if you turn it all the way to the right, clockwise. Okay, I maxed it out. Can't turn it anymore. There should be no give. And you see, it's almost as easy to make it pop as if it was still loose. So that right there is the defect in this product. It's obviously really cheaply made from this plastic insulation, but I was not expecting it to be this poor in design, where a cable could literally just pop this out of place. So when this was hooked up, I could literally touch the cable and I could see like my door lights go on and off as I touched the cable. So like I had the door open, the door lights were on. At one point I touched the cable, the door lights would go off, so the car was losing power. So just imagine that happens when you're driving. You're in trouble, especially if your alternator is on the way out. I made it home, but you might not be so lucky. So I installed the Blade version of this, way more steady with the cable, because it's a big, sort of like a double block. So there's not a lot of room for play. And the design is much better, so I'm going to test that, let you know how it goes.